What is going on, guys? This is Student Investor. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I've added VICI properties to my Robinhood portfolio. I do these videos so that way you guys could see the inside of my brain when I go and do in-depth analysis on the stocks that I like to pick and that I like to hold for the long term. And today is just going to be about VICI properties and why I bought them. So basically, I bought VICI properties for a couple main reasons, and those main reasons are I believe it's inflation proof. I believe that it's going to experience a lot of revenue growth over the coming years, especially with the future economic climate after we get through this pandemic. And lastly, it's in a position to capture a lot of revenue, which in turn means it's going to be a dividend growth beast. And they actually increase their dividends year over year. So I believe it's a very good long-term hold. And for that reason, that's why I have added them. So let's go on with the video, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I believe VICI is going to be a very good holding for me in the future. So let's look at some numbers, and these numbers aren't like your typical numbers that you see where it's like, oh, I'm going to be looking at their balance sheet and their cash position and stuff like that. I'm talking about population numbers because the population is directly going to benefit VICI properties in a way that you may not think it, but I'm going to be explaining that in a short little while. So what you see in front of me right here is just something that the Nevada Legislative Council has put together, and I guess it's just like a whole bit of a slideshow just showcasing the population change in Nevada. So I wanted to show this for a couple reasons, and reason number one is that I believe population affects VICI growth properties, VICI properties in a way that you may not think, because when it comes to population, Las Vegas is a very lively avenue. It's a very lively place, and it attracts a lot of tourism. But recently, Nevada has seen a lot of population growth, and people have been moving there like crazy. And it just happens to be that people move directly into the county that the Las Vegas Strip lives on, which is Clark County. So looking at the numbers here, you could see the population change of Nevada. If we scroll down a bit from the 1990s all the way up to the present day, that is a very large growth in population. As you could see in the 90s, we were at 1.2 mil, and now the current day we're sitting at 3.1 mil. That's a lot of people to just be sitting in Nevada, and most of those people actually live next to the Las Vegas Strip. So that's gonna benefit VICI properties, because if you don't know, or if you haven't read the news, they actually bought MGM Growth Properties, which is the company that held the land that the casinos and all the hotels and leisure properties were on. So now they've added that to their portfolio. So that means a lot. Right here, population density. So if we go over to Clark County, that is going to show us exactly how many people are in the area, and there's about 2.2 million people in the area. So out of the 3.1 million people that live in Nevada today, there is about 2.2 million people living in the county that the Las Vegas Strip is on. That is huge. That means a lot of economic activity is going to be going on in the Las Vegas Strip when everything comes back to normal. And that doesn't even account for the tourism. That doesn't account for the future population projections. For all we know, the more people can move in, and then it could be a very good thing for VICI properties. But I just want to highlight something, and I think this is where some investors might get confused. It's not all about the numbers. Numbers do play a factor when it comes to investing, but there's other factors that affect stock price or just growth in general, and that would be looking at external factors that might benefit the company that you invest in. And this is one thing that benefits VICI properties, because when the population is so dense, and that means people live in the county that the Las Vegas Strip lives in, that means a lot of that activity is gonna happen next to the Las Vegas Strip, right? That means all the malls, all the shopping, it's probably gonna take place in what place? And we know that place to be Las Vegas, and we know that place is famous. There's There's probably no other possible comparable that you could create in America that's like, name another famous place. I mean, maybe San Francisco Bay, some other fruitful names, but when it comes to tourism, I believe Las Vegas probably takes the cake. There's a lot of people that want to fly into Nevada, gamble, stay at hotels, eat at restaurants, go shopping, and it's great, and it puts Vici Properties in a position to capture a lot of revenue. And just in case you haven't heard the news, this is the article that I'm referring to about how VICI Properties bought MGM Growth Properties for around $17 billion. With that, they've added about 15 properties to their portfolio, and that is huge because most of those properties live on the Las Vegas Strip. In fact, they do live on the Las Vegas Strip, and that puts VICI Properties at a very large exposure to the Las Vegas Strip, but that's going to benefit them a ton in the long run when things go back to normal and people are touring again, they're traveling, and they're going to the Las Vegas Strip, because they're going to be in a position to capture all of that revenue, and you're going to see that growth in your stock. It puts it at such a unique position where it's like now VICI Properties is like a growth company, because I believe now in the current state that they are undervalued. That is it. It takes a lot for a company to go and purchase properties in the midst of all this, but I believe they put themselves in a very good position where if this all blows away in the wind and we're back to normal, and all of that economic activity that happens on the Las Vegas Strip, they are going to see the benefit of it because they are the largest owners of the Las Vegas Strip as it stands today. I believe they own like something crazy, like 60 to 70% of the Las Vegas Strip is now under the management of VICI Properties, and they don't just manage the properties, they also own the properties. So you're not just capturing revenue from people going in and buying and staying at the hotels, you're actually growing from the actual property appreciation that these properties are going to experience when the Las Vegas Strip is getting hot again and the people are coming, because those properties are irreplaceable. There are very few properties that replicate the kind of shine and dazz that these Las Vegas properties have. And this is not something that you just build out of the ground. These are very iconic properties, and so is Las Vegas. So I believe that it's a very good and smart purchase to include VICI Properties in my Robinhood portfolio. As you know, I don't usually do this. I don't make big purchases like this unless I do some analysis, but this just was like way too good to pass up on. And as you guys can tell, I'm very excited because I believe in the following years, in I have 5 years, I believe that VICI Properties will be worth more than $30. I really believe that they could get over $45 to $50 in the coming years, not including the dividend growth that you'll see from owning them. So on to the next thing, I'm going to be talking about the dividend growth. So I talked about the numbers. I talked about how they're going to be a growth company. I talked about how they now own some incredible properties and how they have the largest exposure to the Las Vegas Strip. We already know that. But I mentioned something, and I mentioned inflation. So you're probably confused, and I'm going to pick your brain a little bit about why I believe this stock or this REIT is actually inflation proof. One is the properties of properties are irreplaceable. You're going to experience a property appreciation or just price appreciation from owning the properties in general. And two, the dividends. The dividends are increasing year over year. So as inflation gets higher, they are actually paying you out higher. So that means your money is going to be gradually working harder for you year over year. And as you could see, they've increased their dividends quite a bit over the years, and they are steadily increasing them. And it looks like year over year that they're going to be increasing them a couple of cents. And it's like, oh wow, a couple of cents. Oh wow, just what great. What should I do now? That sense is benefiting you in the long term, because it's not like this company is just paying the same amount of money that they pay for the past 20 years. Any company could pay the same amount of money that they paid for the last 20 years if they want to be cheap and give you a 10-cent dividend. But when a company decides that they're going to increase their dividend payout year over year, that means that company is experiencing growth. That means that company has a lot of cash that they're sitting on that they want to pay out investors to make investing in their companies more appealing. And VICI Property is doing exactly that, and I believe it's going to be very beneficial to own them over the coming years. And for me, honestly, this is like a 10, 20 year, 30-year hold. I am not selling this company at all. If anything, I'm going to be buying more over the coming years because I strongly believe in their ability to increase their dividends. I strongly believe in their ability to increase their revenues. You know, this flew under the radar with all of the tech sell-off and all of the crypto news, but I believe when you really dig deep, there are very good companies that are flying under the radar that nobody's really looking at, and you have to think ahead. It's about making money in the long term, not making money in the short term. So with that, I'm going to show you exactly how many shares of VICI Properties I own, and I think you're going to be quite surprised. And now we are at my Robinhood portfolio. So as you can see in front of me, I own exactly 213 shares of VICI Properties. I believe this company is going to perform great in the long term, in my opinion. Guys, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take this video as a buy signal. This is just me uploading my opinion to YouTube so you can see my thought process when it comes to me investing in stocks. With that being said, guys, the support that you guys have shown on the channel has been amazing. Please like, comment, and subscribe, especially comment if you own some VICI even before the acquisition, because I want to know your thought process. If you maybe foresaw this happening or you just truly believe that this is a great company to hold, let me know down in the comments. I also have added some merch, and if you guys check the description, you'd see that I've uploaded some merch to Amazon where you guys can buy and you'll be able to support me directly. So with that, guys, it was a student investor. Stay invested, stay smart, make some good plays in the market, and make your money. Thank you guys very much. That's the end of this video.